So in the spirit of Crocktober, I'm going to try out some crock pot breakfast. So tonight we are making some apple pie crock pot oatmeal. So I sprayed the bottom of my slow cooker, and the first thing I'm going to do is add in 2 whole cups of steel cut oats. We have 2 cups of oats. I'm going to add in 4 cups of water and 3 cups of half and half. They call for 7 full cups of water, but I really want the creaminess that we like in our oatmeal. Their recipe calls for 2 apples with the skin off, peeled and diced. I'm actually going to put in 3 apples with skin on because that's where a lot of the nutrients is. Now I'm using Honeycrisp apples because that's our favorite and that's what I have on hand. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And the recipe called for a half teaspoon of cinnamon, a quarter teaspoon of ginger, and a quarter teaspoon of ground nutmeg. So instead, I'm going to use a full teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. And that's it. Super simple. It's supposed to cook on low for 6 to 8 hours. We will see y'all in the morning. So as I started stirring this, I almost forgot to turn on the camera and let y'all see. Now this cooked on low for almost, well, a little over 8 hours. So it's actually very bland. It needs quite a bit of sugar and it needs more seasoning. So I'm going to add a cup, or this is half a cup of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and another teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. Now that is much better. I feel like we still need a little something. I think instead of pumpkin pie spice, I'm going to add about another half teaspoon of just plain cinnamon. And then I also have some of these walnuts that I have left over from some cookies we made. So this is about a cup. And there you go. That's worth making and letting it sit all night. It's delicious. It's warm. This is yummy. Today we are making Mountain Man Casserole. We're starting with a 28-ounce bag of hash browns with onions and peppers. My kids really love bacon, so I'm adding one of these 2.5-ounce bags of bacon, as well as some ham that we have left over that needs to get used up. Next, we're adding in a dozen eggs and 3/4 cup of milk that we've just whisked together. We're going to add some seasoned salt, or you can just use regular salt if you like. And then the same with some black pepper. And lastly, we're adding 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese across the top. Now we're going to cover this, turn it to low, and let it cook overnight. Alright y'all, we're going to cut into it and see how it all turned out. Ooh, that's a lot of breakfast. Looks good. We maybe should have mixed it all the way through so that the cheese and everything were going together, but we're going to give it a taste test and see if we need to add anything. I think the only thing we're going to add to the top of this is a little bit of salsa. Alright, so let's get started on the next recipe. As you saw from the title, we're going to make stuffed French toast in our slow cooker. So we've got about 7 ingredients that should be readily accessible. So some brioche bread, 10 eggs, some cream cheese, some milk, cinnamon, vanilla, and powdered sugar. So we're going to start with cutting our brioche bread into cubes. And you can see that this is going to be a sweeter bread just by this yellow, buttery color that we've got. And we're going to drop them down in our slow cooker that we've already sprayed. So after you have about half of the bread down in the slow cooker, we're going to set this other half to the side so we can work on our mixture. So down into our bowl, we're going to crack 10 eggs and whisk them To our egg mixture, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Depending on how much cinnamon you like, we're going to add 1 to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. We really like cinnamon, so I'm adding the full 2 teaspoons. And 1.5 cups of milk. And then we're just going to whisk this together. I'm going to transfer it back to our measuring cup just so it'll be easier to pour. And then next we're going to make our filling. So I have 1/3 cup of milk down in the bottom of the bowl. I'm adding 2 blocks of cream cheese or one of those 16-ounce tubs. And 2 cups of confectioner's sugar, powdered sugar, icing sugar, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to blend this until smooth. And now comes the fun part. We've got our bread down in the bottom of our slow cooker. We're going to pour over about half of our egg mixture. And then we're going to add about half of our icing mixture. Now our other layer of bread. I'm just going to give it a little gentle press down. And now the other half of our egg mixture. And the rest of our icing mixture. Alright, so we're going to cover this and cook it on low for about 4 to 5 hours. So our stuffed French toast is all done, and it's not the prettiest by any means, but I'm going to add some fruit and whipped cream, and we're going to give it a taste test. Okay, so this is fabulous. I know that we're having this for breakfast, but this could very easily be a dessert. It doesn't look the prettiest right at first, but you can make it beautiful with some easy whipped cream, some berries, and it is definitely worth it.